Natasha and Her Illegitimate Child in a Muslim Society. A novel by Dr. A. Ahmed. Book 2. This is an intriguing epic story which resonates with love, resilience, courage, and sacrifice. Before we dive into the tapestry of the story, I would like to remind the reader that this novel has been narrated in 2 books. Copyrights. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author, except by a reviewer, who may quote brief paragraphs for a review to be printed in a public newspaper, general magazine, school journal, or university article. This novel is a work of fiction, but the entire story is based on the real life of a Muslim family. All names, characters, places, and events are either the product of the author's imagination or used literary. Therefore, any resemblance to actual people, living or dead, events, or locales is merely coincidental. Chapter 28. The Power of Love. It took the newly wedded couple 4 weeks to collect those pieces of evidence that required for obtaining a spousal visa to Canada. Then Dr. Nadia and Dr. Hassan approached the Canadian embassy and filled their application for spousal visa. Since Dr. Hassan is not a citizen of the United Arab Emirates, the Canadian embassy has to obtain a police criminal reports in all the countries he lived in: Sudan, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The good neighbors are once again got disappointed when they have been told that the process may take a few months before the embassy can decide on their application. As before, Dr. Nadia and her brother Sammy at first wanted to leave their heartbroken Sudanese buddy and return to Canada. They know this time Dr. Hassan is waiting for his Canadian immigrant visa on a good hope. However, at a second thought, Dr. Nadia decided to seize the opportunity and visit other Arab countries and learn about the status of women in those Muslim countries. Sammy did not like her idea and tried to convince her to accompany him back to Canada and leave Dr. Hassan to stay alone for a few months until he would get his landed immigrant visa. Dr. Nadia assured her brother that she would take care of herself in his absence. Furthermore, she convinced Sammy that Dr. Hassan is not that kind of a man who may take advantages of her staying all alone with him and try to rape her or sexually harass her. The short time she spent with him, Dr. Nadia believed that Dr. Hassan is a decent gentleman so that she could trust him. After convincing her brother, Dr. Nadia told Dr. Hassan about her willingness to stay with him until he obtained his spousal visa. The lonely doctor happily welcomed the idea and thanked the sister Nadia and her brother Sammy for their trust in him. After Sammy flew back to Canada, the couple rented an apartment in Dubai and began to live together. They are living in 2 separate bedrooms. Since they are legally married to each other and have their marriage certificate, the couple could live together and move freely everywhere. So far, neither Dr. Nadia told her partner about her Christian faith nor Dr. Hassan revealed to her his disbelief in the religion of Islam and his atheistic conclusion. Each one of them made the other to believe that he or she is a faithful adherent of the Islamic faith. Since they met in Riyadh City, Dr. Hassan hardly saw the face of Dr. Nadia. She always veiled her entire face with the Islamic niqab. On a few occasions, he saw a glimpse of her face when she revealed part of it to eat her food, or when she stood for a photo. However, the charming personality of Dr. Nadia made him like her so much. Even so, he never tried to push those feelings further for the fear of being accused by Dr. Nadia and her brother Sammy of demanding too much or taking advantages of their kindness towards him. Nonetheless, after her brother left, the handsome Sudanese Dr. Hassan noticed that the lovely Dr. Nadia is getting closer to him day after day, and that filled his heart with so much happiness. Still, he considered her affection towards him as a platonic in nature, and she has no erotic feeling towards him. Moreover, he heard that a Western girl could mix freely with another man and treats him as a buddy without she is having any sexual feelings towards him. But from his part, he knew and understood that he had already begun to love her and had a strong sexual desire for her. Before he met her, he has never fallen in love with a girl. He has never expected the love of the woman is going to fill his heart with such a wonderful feeling. He loves her kindness, sacrifice, boldness, and vast knowledge. Dr. Nadia never told him that she is a PhD holder. She could talk in every topic with far more knowledge and understanding than him. The truth of the matter is that he found her more knowledgeable than her brother Sammy. Moreover, he has never met a girl like her who is a multilingual who could speak 6 languages: Arabic, English, French, Russian, Amharic, and Tigrinya. Therefore, he considered her a genius. For that reason, her love forced itself on him, and he could not resist it. He loved her personality more than her physical attractions. In those few times he saw Dr. Nadia's face, Dr. Hassan noticed 4 things which always made him want to speak to her about them. He saw 2 scars, one on the left side of her face somewhere between her left eye and left ear, and another one between her lips and chin. In both cheeks, she has big moles which seem to be unusual for a girl to have them. Those 4 things are not contributing to her beauty, but rather they are distorting it. Apart from that, she has beautiful eyes and an irresistible sensual feminine figure. She has a white skin and exceedingly long hair, which made her to look like a foreigner rather than a Sudanese. She did not inform him that her late grandmother was a Russian woman. As a medical doctor, Dr. Hassan knew that Dr. Nadia could do some plastic surgeries to remove those ugly scars and big moles. If those 4 things had disappeared from her face, he understood Dr. Nadia would look like the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. What Dr. Hassan saw on her face is true, but what he does not know is that those 4 things are artificial makeup that Dr. Nadia is putting purposely to disguise her identity. Since the time she left Canada, she used those artificial scars and moles to hide her real face behind them. She is scared that she might be recognized as the Sudanese girl who was arrested and imprisoned in Sudan, and then she got condemned by the Sharia court because of the false accusations of spying for a Zionist group in Canada and apostasy from Islam to Christianity, and sentenced to be put to death. Whenever she went to bed, she removed them from her face, and before she stepped out of her bedroom, she wore them again. Dr. Nadia also began to like the handsome Dr. Hassan, and she is looking at him as a good man too. She does not want to push her emotions beyond good friends. She is scared that Dr. Hassan might think that she is blackmailing him because his future at present is in her hands. She does not want to build a friendship on lies. She thought he might not like her if he discovered later that she is a Christian and pretending to be a Muslim woman. In addition, she expected that when he would come to know about her past life, he might hate her for not telling him that she was married and has 2 children in Canada. In addition to that, he might despise her if he discovered that her children were fathered through incest by her brother and father. Nonetheless, when her brother left and she began to live with Dr. Hassan in an apartment, Dr. Nadia's feelings towards him ran out of her control, and she began to love him. She knows that he loves her too. But both lovers have been prevented from revealing their love for each other because of those barriers which each of them has built in his mind. In the meantime, the married lovers are living in an everlasting honeymoon. They traveled to so many Arab countries and explored the entire Middle East region. They visited most of the major cities in the Arab countries such as Abu Dhabi, Doha, Kuwait, Amman, Damascus, Jerusalem, Baghdad, and Beirut. Beside their great enjoyment she is experiencing with her new handsome lover, Dr. Nadia could be able to learn a great deal about the Arabic culture and the social lives of women in those Muslim countries. She took hundreds of photos of women and learned many things about them. Meanwhile, Dr. Hassan has been puzzled by the great interest that Dr. Nadia is having about women in the Muslim world. He could not understand why she is so passionate on the topic of women. He always saw her writing down whatever she observed and learned about the women in every city they visited. She even tried to learn from him about the women in Saudi Arabia. He disclosed to her whatever he knew or saw was happening to the women in that country. Through him she learned how children were married in early age and how they were raped by men older than their fathers or grandfathers. Many times, child brides were rushed to the hospital where he used to work with serious damages happened to their private parts when those wicked Arab men raped them under the pretension of halal child marriage. He told her that women are treated like prisoners and animals in that country. The woman will never be referred to by her name or her gender, but she is called Al-Makaloga, which means the woman creature. Instead of calling her by her name, the girl is either referred to as the daughter of Ahmed or the wife of Hassan or the sister of Mosa. Even her father may not mention her name, but calls her my daughter. Therefore, she will hear her name only when her mother, sister, or girlfriend call her. Many times, those close relatives refer to her as the daughter of Khalid or sister of Tariq or the wife of Abdul al-Hadi. Quite often, Dr. Hassan treated women who were brutally beaten by their outraged husbands or battered by their fathers. In some cases, some women got beaten to death by their angry men. Whenever a badly battered woman was brought for treatment in the hospital due to some domestic violence, her case had never reached the police. The hospital has been forbidden by law to refer any physical abuse that had been done to a woman by a husband or a father to the police. Such a restriction is based on a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad which said, "The man should not be asked why he beats the members of his household," Sunan Abu Dawud. Only if a murder has been committed then the case might reach the police authority. But many times, teenage girls got slain in honor killings and their dead bodies were buried in the house or hidden somewhere in the desert. Dr. Nadia lived with Dr. Hassan in the same apartment for 3 months before he received his landed immigrant visa. During those 3 months, he never harassed her sexually or tried to do anything to upset her. However, during those months the two friends became so attached to each other. They lived together, ate together, traveled together, and enjoyed each other's company. As they said, love neither asks our permission nor gives us the right to choose to accept it or reject it. That is what has happened in the case of those two intimate friends. However, neither Dr. Hassan revealed his strong love to his Canadian beloved girlfriend, nor Dr. Nadia disclosed her deep love to her Sudanese lover. None of them demanded from the other except his or her good friendship. Finally, the pseudo-married couple booked their flight from Dubai to Toronto and waited for the day of their departure. None of them wished in his heart or her heart that day should come. But wonderful days are always short-lived, and the day of their flight has come at last. It is on the eve of their departure something unexpected happened. That day, the lovers went for their final tour in the city. As soon as they returned to their apartment, they packed their luggage and immediately went to bed. Each one entered his room and fell asleep. Notwithstanding, a small incident happened on the day prior to their flight to Canada. On that night, Dr. Hassan suddenly woke up in the middle of the night when he heard Dr. Nadia is screaming at the top of her voice. His first reaction is to run from his bedroom to her bedroom and rescue her. He thought someone has broken in their apartment and has attempted to rape Dr. Nadia. When he came out of his room, he discovered that she was not in her bedroom. Her shouting indicated that she was in the bathroom. He then ran to the bathroom for her rescue. When he entered the bathroom, he found that Dr. Nadia had accidentally slipped and hurt her body. He bent over her body and carried her on his arms and brought her to the living room. Then he examined the bruises that had been caused by her accidental fall. He found out that she had not broken any one of her bones. One of her legs is bleeding. He was able to stop the bleeding by wrapping it with a piece of cloth. After that, he gently massaged the other parts of her body which still aching due to the fall. Dr. Nadia felt relieved from the pain and thanked him. It is the first time for Dr. Hassan to see Dr. Nadia without her Islamic niqab and those artificial scars and moles. Dr. Nadia is wearing a short nightie that exposes her arms, shoulders, thighs, hips, and most of her legs. But Dr. Hassan is amazed when he sees her in her nightdress while her face is shining like the moon without those ugly scars and moles. He was perplexed and started to speak some confusing words. His reaction alarmed Dr. Nadia and made her so frightened. She understood that he had seen her face for the first time without her artificial disguise. His eyes have continued to stare at her face, while the expression in them is demanding an explanation. Dr. Nadia has no words to explain her position. She only lowered her gaze and began to look at the floor. At that critical moment, she expected something to happen. She would not be surprised if he slaps her on her cheek or spits on her face for deceiving him all this time. Nonetheless, while she was expecting the worst to happen, She felt his hand gently touch her cheek and heard his voice whispering softly, "You are so beautiful, you are gorgeous, your marvelous beauty is beyond description." Dr. Nadia has remained silent and did not push his hand away from her cheek. She is enjoying his loving touch and hearing his deep voice praising her beauty. Her heart began to beat fast, and her body became sensual. Then she felt his hand move from her cheek and crept to her shoulder and met his other hand on her back and surrounded her. She could hear the beating of their hearts when he erotically has hugged her. She had not resisted but yielded to his loving hug. She has also not waited for him to kiss her, but she has found his lips and began to kiss him. He has responded to her kiss, and both the intimate lovers for the first time have engaged their bodies in passionate kissing and hugging. Chapter 29. Love is in our hearts and not in our minds. The Qatar Airways plane took off as it has been scheduled at 2:45 p.m. from Dubai International Airport and headed towards Heathrow International Airport. The plane is full of Arabs and hardly one could see any person from non-Arab nationality. One could feel as if he is still in one of the malls of Abu Dhabi or Dubai. Every woman is wearing either hijab or niqab, and every man is having long beard and putting on those Arab clothes which looked like the women's nightgowns. Everyone is speaking to his neighbor in Arabic. Even the air hostesses are speaking to the passengers in Arabic language. The movie that is playing on the big screen in front of the passengers is an Egyptian movie. Some deeply religious passengers preferred to close their eyes and insert headphones in their ears and hear the recitation of their Holy Quran. The food menus that have been placed in front of the passengers for their selection are containing variety of Arab delicious dishes. As soon as the passengers unfastened their seatbelts, the air hostesses began to distribute the food. Everybody seemed happy and excited for either visiting the capital of the Western civilization for the first time or returning to his or her family in the United Kingdom. Every female is accompanied by a male who is either her husband, father, brother, or an adult son. The only male and female who are not related to each other in any one of those strong family ties are the two lovers, Hassan and Nadia. Dr. Nadia is closing her eyes and reclining on her seat, and in the back of her mind she is replaying again and again that midnight adventure which began by an accidental fall in the bathroom, resulted in bodily injury, followed by a rescue, and culminated into wonderful love intimacy. It is the most wonderful experience she has ever had in her entire life. Dr. Nadia never expected either of them would cross that red line which they drew for their good friendship. If it wasn't for the accident, they might never reveal their love for each other. On the eve of their departure, Dr. Nadia spent many hours at night typing in her laptop all the data she collected during that day about women. She even uploaded on her YouTube page all the photos she took during her tour in the city. Luckily, in Saudi Arabia and all other Gulf countries everywhere she went, she found internet connection. She did not want to repeat the same mistake she did in Sudan. She expected that her laptop might be searched at the airport. For that reason, every day she entered her data and photos in her laptop and then sent the files as attachments to her email and also uploaded them in her YouTube page and then deleted those files and photos. She did not want to be caught of having those files and pictures in her laptop and hence accused again of spying for Israel or an agent for the West and sentenced to death as happened to her in Sudan. On that night, as usual, she stayed until midnight working on her laptop. Before she decided to go to bed, she went to the bathroom. She knew that Dr. Hassan was sleeping in his room, and for that reason, she never bothered to put on her Islamic niqab and wear those disguising scars and moles. It was her accidental fall that alarmed her undercover life partner and made him run for her rescue. Until he brought her on his arms and treated her injury, Dr. Nadia did not know that she was in her short nightdress, without her coffin-like black niqab and ugly scars and moles. Her bruise happened to be in her left hip. She allowed her lover and doctor to massage her left leg and hip. She enjoyed his masculine hand so much, touching her on those sensitive parts of her body. She wished that he would continue forever caressing her body. It was only when her handsome lover Dr. Hassan began to stare in wonder at her face, she realized that she was caught red-handed. Instead of questioning and blaming her for lying to him, Dr. Hassan exposed his romantic feelings and expressed his deep love for her. His loving touch and hug forced her to give up her continuous efforts and struggle of hiding her love for him. She was the one who started the kissing, and he was the one who began the lovemaking. In that quiet night and silent moments, Dr. Nadia, after many years, allowed a man who wasn't her real husband to make love to her. Since the black day she discovered that she unknowingly fell in love and married her own brother, she decided never to fall in love again and have sex with a man. Even so, that silent night, all those efforts and self-denial were broken, and her soul, mind, and body dived into the bliss of love once again. Neither she nor he has felt that they have committed adultery, and they must be punished for such moral sin. Although everything happened without any one of them could control it, still none of them has told the other that I love you. Dr. Nadia is puzzled by the silence of her lover. Why does he not want to say anything to her? Did he touch her because he found himself facing an uncontrollable temptation when he saw her exposed body and revealed face? Why did he not ask her about the mysterious disappearance of those ugly marks on her face? After everything was over, he just assisted her on going to her room and wished her good night and returned to his room. Next day, when they met, he wished her a good morning as every day he used to do, and that was that. After reasoning out her thoughts, Dr. Nadia concluded that Dr. Hassan is not interested in pushing the friendship further than simply good friends. She even thanked God that he did not confront her with her hidden identity or asked her to marry him. How could she marry a Muslim man? What would be his reaction when he would come to know that she is a pretender and has nothing to do with Islam? He might even accuse her of using him as a cover-up while she was carrying out her research on women in Muslim countries. While she is deeply engrossed in those thoughts and their plane has already flown for a couple of hours, Dr. Nadia felt the hand of Dr. Hassan gently tapping her shoulder. When she opened her eyes and looked at him, he brought his mouth near her face until his lips touched her right ear. Then he whispered in her ear, "Have you made up your mind?" "Made up my mind about what? Will you accept me now as your real husband?" Dr. Nadia found herself out of words. She had not expected him to ask her such a direct question. But then she is faced with an honest question and understands that she has to give a sincere answer. She looked at him for a while and then said, "We need to talk before I answer your question." "Okay, let us talk now." "Not now." "Why not now?" "We can talk while we are waiting for our next flight in London Airport." "As you wish, dear." For the remaining hours of flying, Dr. Hassan did not bother Dr. Nadia and left her to continue her deep rumination. She seemed to him as if she were meditating in an extremely difficult and complicated insurmountable problem. Her silence and postponing the answer to his question have created some fear in his heart. He is worried that she might reject his proposal for being his real-life partner. Maybe she is already having a husband in Canada. He has never fallen in love with a woman before. For the first time, he felt the joy of falling in love with someone. He understood why his late wife cheated on him because she had a lover. She wanted to spend her life with her lover, but he came in between and separated them. But he wouldn't be able to set them apart. They met again and resumed their romance. Unfortunately, lovers have no rights to be together in a Muslim country. Eventually, their sincere love was interpreted as adultery and led to the cruel death of the beloved girlfriend and rendered her lover a severely handicapped person all the rest of his life and moving in a wheelchair. Likewise, Dr. Hassan loves Dr. Nadia and wants to spend the rest of his life with her. She did not only save his life, but she gave him hope and filled his life with indescribable joy. He enjoyed every moment they spent together in their apartment in Dubai and those visits to other Arab countries. In every city, they stayed together in a hotel and slept in the same room. But he never tried to touch her or express his love for her in words or action. Nonetheless, on the previous night when he carried her on his arms and touched her delicate body for the first time, he felt as if another being entered in him and forced him to express his love for her in words and action. If she refused him now, he thought he might be drawn again into those ugly suicidal thoughts. The two intimate lovers have arrived in London after 5 hours of uninterrupted flying. They had to wait for 7 hours at Heathrow International Airport before they board their connecting flight to Toronto. As soon as the couple reached London, Dr. Nadia excused herself and went to the washroom. She spent a long time in the washroom before she reappeared again. During that time, she removed her Islamic niqab and put on beautiful t-shirt and jeans. She combed her long hair and left it open. She felt as if she came out of a grave that she was buried inside it for long 6 months in those male-dominated Arab countries. As soon as she reached the West, she felt that she was once again in a wonderful world and among civilized people. Before she came out of the washroom, she dumped those Islamic abaya and niqab in a garbage container. She has been tempted to flush them in the washroom as if they are human and refused that the person should get rid of them as quickly as possible before their nasty smell spread and caused discomfort for other fine ladies and gentlemen of the civilized world. Meanwhile, Dr. Hassan has become a bit worried about the long time that Dr. Nadia has spent in the washroom. He does not know whether to go and find out what has happened to her or just keep on waiting and hoping that everything is fine with her. While he is waiting, he saw a beautiful young girl came and occupied the seat of his Canadian beloved girlfriend. He felt angry because the young girl did not even ask him whether the seat was occupied or not. She only removed the handbag of Dr. Nadia and occupied the seat. He turned his face to her and said angrily, "Excuse me, miss, this seat is reserved for my wife, and you have come and removed her handbag and sat without asking a permission." The beautiful young lady smiled and then offered her hand to greet him and said gently, "My name from now onwards is Dr. Natasha and not Dr. Nadia. The girl you know as Dr. Nadia Ahmed has died and has been buried inside the washroom, and here is the true Dr. Natasha Shams al-Din." Dr. Hassan could not understand a word from what the beautiful young lady has said to him. When Dr. Natasha understood that Dr. Hassan did not recognize her, she said again, "I am the same girl who has come with you from Dubai to London. Now we can talk about the future of our friendship." When Dr. Natasha said, "Now we can talk about the future of our friendship," Dr. Hassan should be able to recognize her. Even so, still his eyes refused to accept this daring young woman who is shamelessly dressed up in a man's clothes could be the same Muslim girl whom he knew for over 4 months. He has never seen before a Muslim woman dressed up like a man and exposed half of her sexy breasts, and her tied jeans is revealing her big buttocks. The girl he knew and fell madly in love with her is a committed Muslim girl who always obeyed her religious laws and cultural heritage. How could she suddenly change into a Western girl? She appeared to him as an angel of holiness and purity who has transformed herself into a demon of lust and temptation. How that incredible change could happen into someone's life, that is beyond his mental capacity to comprehend. Without uttering a word, he waited for the satanic creature who has claimed to be the same holy girl he knew and loved to explain her mysterious change. "I can understand why you seem to be unwilling to believe that I am Dr. Nadia, the girl you have known for so long. I refuse to answer your question on the plane because I don't want you to build a serious relationship in deception. I have not intended to deceive you, but my circumstances in the Middle East force me to pretend to be a Muslim girl when I am not. To be brutally frank, I have not been a Muslim in all my life. I was born to Muslim parents, but brought up by an agnostic grandfather who never believed in any religion or even believed in the existence of God. I was born in Sudan, and when I was 3 days old, my irreligious grandpa took me to Ethiopia and raised me up in Addis Ababa. When I was 15 years old, we immigrated to Canada. At the age of 20, I converted to Christianity out of my own accord. When I grew up, I discovered that I was an illegitimate child and my parents never married each other. I had been made to pay a heavy price for that immoral mistake and religious crime that my parents committed before I was born. My brother too was born without the sanctity of marriage bond and was raised up in a Christian orphanage in Khartoum. He was cruelly treated by the Coptic Christians and harshly punished by the Sudanese Muslims for a crime that he had not committed. Wherever he went, he was called Wald al-Haram and treated like a parasite and an outcast. However, I won't bother you about those painful and cruel details that my brother and I went through because we are illegitimate children. To cut a long story short, when I grew up, I had accidentally stumbled upon the bitter truth of my family and therefore came to know about the cause of my sufferings. My mother was tried and condemned by the Sharia court in Khartoum and sentenced to 200 lashes for committing adultery before marriage and delivering 2 illegitimate children. For that reason, I went to university and began to study the status of women in Islam. I did my theoretical study at Toronto University, and I obtained a bachelor and master degrees in religious studies. Then I went to McGill University in Montreal and enrolled in a PhD program specializing in Muslim women. For my fieldwork, I traveled to Sudan to study the social conditions of Muslim women. While I was in Sudan, I was falsely accused as a spy for a Zionist group and condemned as an apostate from Islam. Therefore, an Islamic Sharia court sentenced me to be hanged to death. When Dr. Natasha reached this stage in her sad story, Dr. Hassan interrupted her and said, "I know the girl about whom you are talking. Every Sudanese in Saudi Arabia knew about your case, and all of them hated you with passion. I hated you too with bitterness. In those days, I looked at you as the most despicable Sudanese woman I ever knew. I believed everything the Sudanese newspapers wrote about you and the Arab media said about you. I did not believe that you were innocent from those accusations of being employed by some enemies of Islam to make a false case about Muslim women in Sudan. I was so mad with the Sudanese government when they released you due to some foreign pressures, especially from the USA. In those days, I wished in my heart that you should be put to death for spying for the enemies of Islam and for defaming the bright name of Sudan. You had made me to feel shamed and all other Sudanese living in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries. You had made everyone to reproach our women. I had never expected that I would meet you one day and I would fall in love with you. Why did you do all those ugly things? Why are you still lying and pretending to be Muslim and spying on Muslim societies? What are you going to gain and who's behind you? Yes, I am pretending to be a Muslim girl, but I am neither a liar nor a spy. I have no one behind me except my conscience. I want to learn and expose the evil practices that have done to female children and other Muslim women, which are sanctioned and encouraged by the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah of the so-called Prophet of God, Muhammad. I want to help Muslim women as well as men to reject and denounce those barbaric practices of the Sharia. I want to prove to them that your wife was innocent and she wasn't supposed to be stoned in that cruel and inhumane way. I want the Sudanese Islamic court to apologize for scourging my innocent 16-year-old mother 200 lashes until she died for having sex with her lover. I want the Muslims to stop the evil practice of female genital mutilation. Islam is an evil religion which abuses the woman by allowing the man to marry 4 women at the same time, beats his wife, inflicts female genital mutilation on his children, rapes children through the so-called halal child marriage, forces women to wear demeaning burqas, slays women in honor killings, explodes his body in bits and pieces believing that he will get 72 virgins in paradise. The husband can divorce his wife with or without reason. But she can't divorce her husband. Women are not allowed to go to schools, work, or drive cars. They can't step out of their houses without close male relatives guarding them as if they are children of prisoners, etc., etc., etc. I do agree with you that Islam is unfair with women, and I had come to this conclusion after my wife had been stoned to death for having sex with her lover. Ever since that time, I lost respect for Islam, and I stopped believing in God. I am sorry I have not shared this with you before. Now I am an agnostic person like your grandfather, who believed in no religion or any deity. However, I do not agree with the method you have used to carry out your research on women in Muslim societies. I do not believe anybody needs to lie to expose evils. None of the great souls in human history had used deceptive methods in solving the insurmountable problems of his people. Neither Jesus, nor Muhammad, nor Buddha, nor Krishna, nor Socrates, nor Plato, nor Aristotle, nor Gandhi had lied to their people while they were exposing the evils of their societies. Still, I do not want to be your judge and judge you in what is right way and what is wrong method of carrying out your research on women in Islam. What is important to me now is that I wish you will accept me from the bottom of your heart as your real husband despite we have many differences in our thinking and approach to life. I have no problem with you being a Christian girl. Still, I love you and I wish I can spend the rest of my life with you. I love you too. But you must know that love is in our hearts and not in our minds. As regarding your question, I have already allowed you to enter my heart, and I have accepted you as my real husband on that wonderful time when I allowed you to touch me and make love with me. However, let time and our circumstances in future test our love and commitment to each other. I hope you won't desert me when you come to know more about my tragic life in the near future.